Hitting your protein goal for the day on a vegetarian diet might seem impossible, but with a few clever tweaks and additions, it can definitely be done. So today I'm sharing some high protein recipes that are also vegetarian, so you can hit your protein goal without needing protein powder. For breakfast, I'm recreating one of my favorite recipes from a local veggie cafe, and it's basically avocado toast with poached eggs and homemade maple tempeh bacon. I started by making the marinade for the tempeh, so to a little bowl I added soy sauce, maple syrup, salt and olive oil. I seasoned with salt and pepper and also added some paprika. I then gave it a good mix and let it on the side. And for my tempeh, I love this brand as I find the tempeh isn't too bitter, which I definitely have found with other brands. So I just cut it in medium-sized pieces and put them in a little container. I then added the marinade and let it marinate for 10 minutes or so. Ideally, I'd leave it longer than that, but even 10 minutes worked fine. And while I'm waiting for the marinade, I cut myself some fruit as I love to start the day with something fresh, and today's selection was a kiwi and some blueberries. Once the tempeh had 10 minutes to marinate, I added the pieces to my air fryer to cook. And while the tempeh is cooking, I'm making a quick avocado spread, so to my food chopper I added a couple of avocados, a tiny bit of onion and a handful of tomatoes. I seasoned with salt and pepper and squeezed the juice of a lime. I then pulsed it a few times until it gets to a nice creamy consistency. And halfway through cooking the tempeh, I flipped the pieces and then added the leftover marinade on top. For my eggs, I'm doing poached today, so I just added a bit of vinegar to my pan of boiling water and slowly lowered one egg at a time. For my bread, I'm using a slice of this protein bread, which has 16 grams of protein per 2 slices, but I only had one left, so I'm also using some leftover sourdough I had. I added my avocado spread on top and then added my eggs. I did 3 eggs today as they were tiny, and then finished with my tempeh bacon. So James already tried the bacon and he went mental for it, so I have very high expectations. So let's start with trying the tempeh bacon. Oh my god. Perfect. It is so good. There's a cafe in Sheffield that does my favorite tempeh bacon and it's very similar to that. And it's just so tasty. And I can't believe it was so easy to make and so quick, especially in the air fryer. And definitely recommend the air fryer because it has a nice like little crispy outside but still nice and soft. Oh my god, this is so good. Let's try a bit of the bread as well. I was running low on bread, so it's a mishmash of everything I found. But that protein bread, I was surprised. It actually has quite a lot of protein for just bread. I think it's all the nuts and seeds, so yeah. What a great start to the day. This is perfection. Probably have avocado everywhere. This is so good. Gonna go enjoy it with my cup of tea. Gotta make the bacon. It's just perfection. For my morning snack, I had a couple of these cottage cheese muffins, which, spoiler alert, were so yummy and the consistency was so fluffy. They were just perfect, so let's make them. just smell so good. I'm so glad I decided to add the lemon zest, because I just feel like when you have blueberry, you gotta have lemon thrown in there as well. These are so good. Very moist, very fluffy. Definitely gonna have two. Very good recipe, and definitely recommend adding the lemon zest if you like lemon like I do. And I made myself a cup of tea, so I'm gonna go enjoy this plus another one and have a rest for a bit, and I'll see you for lunch. For lunch, I'm making a vegetarian gyro souvlaki, which was so quick to make, definitely perfect for when you want a quick lunch or dinner. For my protein, I'll be using this seitan, which I never used before, but I thought it would work great for a souvlaki. But if you don't have seitan, you can also use tofu. I usually make my vegetarian souvlaki with tofu, and it always works great as well. So I just cut up the seitan in strips, and then added it to my pan with some olive oil to fry until golden from all sides. I season with salt and pepper and some thyme and continue stirring until fully cooked. And halfway through cooking, I thought I'd also cook some halloumi to add to my souvlaki, so to a separate pan I added some slices of halloumi to cook in olive oil. And now my seitan and halloumi are ready, and I also had some leftover tzatziki from the day before, so I'm ready to assemble my souvlaki. I toasted my pita and then added a couple tablespoons of my tzatziki, and you can use ready-made tzatziki, or if you have some time you can easily make your own. I'll leave my recipe for homemade tzatziki in the description below. I then added a few halloumi slices and my seitan and some tomato and onion. And of course, finishing off with some paprika, and our souvlaki is ready. This is the perfect quick lunch or dinner. It's definitely one of my go-tos when I want something quick and delicious. I'm not even gonna tell you what time it is for my lunch. Actually I will. It's 4:20. I wouldn't even call it a late lunch. It's like a proper Greek lunch at that time. But I was quite full and I needed a rest because I was so tired. So yeah, anyways, it's finally time to try, so I can't wait. It is perfect. So good. And the weather is like super sunny, so it feels like we're in Greece. I'm gonna try the seitan alone because I've never had this before, and it said chicken flavor, whatever that means, but very good. It's very good and good texture because it's crispy on the outside but still quite soft on the inside. Couldn't resist adding a bit of thyme because thyme works so well for souvlaki. I'm very happy with it. Can't go wrong with souvlaki. One of the best things in life. It's a triumph, I would say. My mom really liked it as well, which is always good. Tell you. And dinner time, we're making one of my favorite Greek meals, keftedakia, aka little meatballs, only instead of meat we'll be using lentils and tofu for a high-protein vegetarian alternative. Greek meatballs are full of herbs and I tend to use whatever I have in the house, so today I'm doing a mix of parsley, dill and mint, but you can use whatever you have and like. I just gave them a wash and then added them to my food processor. I also cooked some brown lentils, so adding them in too. Basically, this recipe couldn't be simpler. I just added all my ingredients to my food processor and blended everything up. And I will have all the ingredients listed and how much I used in the description below, so if you want to recreate them, you can find the recipe there. Once I added all the ingredients, I pulsed the mixture a few times and then transferred it to a bowl and then added the flour and gave it a final mix. I then covered it with some plastic wrap and let it in the fridge to set for a few hours. And after a few hours, I took them out of the fridge and made little balls and then placed them in the air fryer. I drizzled with a bit of olive oil and put them in the air fryer to cook. And because I had loads of the mixture, I decided to also try out baking some in the oven. So for the oven ones, I just made them in little balls and then covered them in some flour and placed them on the baking tray lined with baking paper, making sure I remove the excess flour. And to be honest, the air fryer version turned out so much better. So if you do have an air fryer, definitely recommend cooking them there. But even in the oven, they were tasty. They just ended up being a bit less fluffy on the inside and a bit harder on the outside. To go with my keftedakia, I'm making some lemony potatoes, and I'm basically doing a mixture of Greek lemony potatoes and British roast potatoes. So I just washed and peeled a bunch of potatoes. How many times can I say potatoes? Anyways, and then I cut them in medium-sized pieces at an angle. I then boiled them for about 10 minutes. And while they're boiling, I'm making my lemony sauce. So to a little bowl, I added some olive oil, salt and pepper, a tiny bit of honey, some thyme, and some lemon, of course. I gave it a good mix and let it on the side. Once the potatoes had 10 minutes of boiling time, I drained them and added them to my baking pan. I drizzled with the lemony dressing and put them in the oven to bake until fully cooked. And my mom had also prepared the Greek salad, which is just perfect as a side dish to this meal. So I served myself some Greek salad, a few keftedakia, and of course lots of the yummy lemony potatoes. And that was such a yummy dinner. I love the vegetarian version of these meatballs. They turned out the perfect consistency and they were so fragrant and delicious. If you enjoyed this video and made it this far, by the way, comment a potato emoji. And if you'd like to see another high protein video, you can check out the video on your left. Okay, bye!